Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Maria Gonçalves podcast. I am your host, Maria Gonçalves, and today I have a special guest, and it is Daniel Rocha. He is the founder and owner of New Moon Guidance. He is a dedicated spiritual medium, astrologer, sound healing practitioner, and Bio-Well Practitioner. And through his service and devotion to spirit, Daniel offers compassionate insight, wisdom, and sound therapy to provide a pathway to profound discovery and healing for both his clients and to seekers worldwide. Fusing his ancient wisdom with modern insight, Daniel offers unique, tailored sessions, event, and communal gatherings that open up your spiritual journey and explore your unique story. Oh, I love that. So, welcome. Taking my glasses off because now I can see you. I just need them to read. I am so grateful that you are here today and that we are going to be exploring sound healing.
Thank you so much for having me here, Maria. It's truly an honor, and I'm so excited to be sharing this world of sound healing with everybody. So thank you.
Thank you. So, can you explain a little about sound healing? Because I find it personally, I love going to sound healing sessions. I find it so relaxing. Um, so, can you explain exactly how that works and how did you get into it?
Yeah, so sound healing, I guess I'll get into how I got into it first. I have been developing, just doing like tarot readings and things and developing intuition. And I've gone through a teacher. And that happened about, I'm going to say about 8 years ago. And the whole sound healing came in more recently, about two or so, 1.5 to 2 years ago. And it all started with a docu-series that I had watched on Gaia called The Sound of Creation. And I'm not affiliated, but it just completely blew me away, the world of sound and the way they described everything. And I was completely enamored at that point. And so the breadth of knowledge that they brought forward kind of made something click within myself. And I'm like, I feel really drawn to this, and I feel like I got to do something with this. So I started to explore sound healing a little bit more, and frequency and vibration. And I grew up with music all of my life. I played in the band, I played in York University Wind Symphony. So I think it was all kind of stepping up to the point. But I started with tuning forks. And when I got my first few tuning forks and started to use them, I started to feel a profoundness to all of the knowledge that I had received, and everything started to make sense, started to snap in place like puzzle pieces. And then I started to use it on other people, and I can honestly tell you that it changes things. Like, it transforms people on all levels of their being. And if we're just going from a standpoint of the physical body, people have told me that it has helped them a lot. I have helped people with their headaches, with muscle spasms, muscle cramps, and even emotional release. On a spiritual level, people saying they feel much lighter. Like, it opens up pathways within people, kind of like a mediumship session or a tarot reading or an astrology session would. It is a form of energy healing. And so, what is sound healing? It is essentially the culmination of ancient wisdom, art, science, music, and the alchemy of healing itself. It is a modality of healing that treats us on all levels of our being and not just the symptoms. We have been working with the modality of sound healing and sound for thousands of years. And if you go back into the ancient shamanic practices where they would have these drumming circles, and we still have those today, and where shamans believe that when we undergo trauma or pain or illness, it is because maybe something has happened in our lives where we may have lost part of our soul. And so by them drumming, it's essentially recalling that part of our soul that we have lost. And so sound healing works very much the same way when we say bringing in, infusing the modern insights with ancient wisdom. We are just beginning to break ground and gain a better understanding of what sound healing is truly capable of. And now when we start bringing in the singing bowls, the tuning forks, we've developed ocean drums, and rain sticks have always been a thing for a long time, didgeridoos. We can go into all the different spectrum of sound healing instruments. We are finding more and more ways now to abridge the science with the metaphysics together to create profound wellness and healing for us as individuals and to bring it to the world.
Oh, wow. I do have a rain stick and I
Yeah.
love it. It took me the longest time to find it. I think I found it years ago, like over 10 years ago, in a music store because they had a beautiful rain stick. Uh, the water drums, I've been looking for those because they're the most relaxing sound I've ever heard in my life. And I know there's different qualities of them. Like if somebody wants to purchase these things, because I'm just curious, where do you find stuff like this? If somebody has a session with you and they're like, oh, that's so cool. I like to own my own singing bowls, or I like to own my own tuning forks, or I don't know, musical instruments that you spoke of because they're really cool. Where do you find this stuff?
Well, there is, and again, no affiliations. There is one lady, and she works out of Beamsville here in Ontario, and she has the Sound Journey store. It is a candy shop for people who love this kind of stuff. I have yet to actually go in person because you can go in person. However, I have ordered online, and
Okay.
everything from crystal singing bowls to gongs to tuning forks. The majority of sound healing instruments that you can buy are online through the US.
Okay.
And I've also purchased like a majority of my tuning forks and things from stores in the US. I think like one is called Sacred Waves. They're abundant. You can pretty much find them everywhere. And even like going into your local Long and McQuaid's or Cosmo Music, they
Okay.
actually have some world instruments. Like you can buy a didgeridoo if you're curious about that. Rain stick. They do have a selection of world instruments, which I tend to classify closer to sound healing instruments just because
Mhm.
of, you know, the bringing in the nature with the sound as they do. Um, so you can find instruments there as well, but a majority you are going to find online. Unfortunately, if you do live in Canada, then shipping stuff from the US can get a bit pricey.
A little.
So
And then I was just thinking maybe some spiritual stores that are may have it, right? Or some crystal shops. You just never know. So ask around. I am curious because just for our listeners and for those that are watching this on YouTube, and when you say tuning forks, I don't want people to think it's like my fork in my kitchen. So what does that look like?
perfect. Well, I do have some here handy. So this here is an example of a tuning fork. As you can see, you're not going to use this to eat.
No.
So this here is what's called an unweighted tuning fork. This one actually produces a sound. And actually, I'm going to grab these ones here because I can actually tie them together. I'm not sure how the sound is going to pick up on the recording, but I find they're not very microphone friendly. So these are tuning forks. When you hit them together, they produce that sound, a very specific frequency. And when played together, they can produce harmonies. So in this case, I just played a C and a G together. So together they form a perfect fifth. and just a very pleasing, very soothing sound. I can use them individually, but basically the frequency that resonates from a tuning fork can help with your energy body and with your cells and everything too. And maybe we can get into that. And this here is a weighted tuning fork. And I personally have more of a liking for the weighted ones. Sorry, unweighted ones. You didn't hear that. But basically, you cannot hear it. If I place it up to the microphone, you may be able to hear it. And they produce a frequency that's reverberated through the fork itself. And, putting it up to someone's ears, they can listen to it, but the true power of these forks comes when you apply them directly to the body.
I do remember, I don't know if it was last year or 2 years ago, we did a psychic fair together and I was not feeling well. I ate something, drive through, it did not settle with my stomach. And then I went to you and I'm like, oh my goodness, I have to do readings all day. And I felt awful. And then you had your table there, like the massage table, Reiki table, and you did a healing. And I do remember you using tuning forks, right? I don't know if you
Yes,
remember that.
I
And
do.
it was because I never had that. So I was like, I want to try this. And it was so relaxing. I got up, I felt so much better. And I was able to do readings all day because I was worried. I was like, oh, if I don't get grounded and I don't feel better, like I'm going to have to go before the fair even starts. And then you helped me like with the energy and the sound healing and the tuning forks. And I just thought like, wow, on site, you're amazing.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, I'm really glad I was able to help you out that day with that. I believe that was at the Red Fern events in Alliston, Ontario.
Yes.
And I think that was last year in the summer or spring to early summer, I believe.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was pretty cool. And you experienced it firsthand, Maria. So at the end of the day, it is another form of energy healing, just helping to relax your body. And that's what it ultimately comes down to. It's how does sound help your body to relax? Like I may be a sound healing practitioner and I use a variety of instruments, which are my tools. But at the end of the day, I'm only a medium to the energy work and to spirit to help another being, another person. And it's really your own body, your own energy body, physical body that does its own healing. So our bodies are capable of great self-healing. We just have to give ourselves the opportunity to do that. And when we are in fight or flight mode, or we're constantly moving, the day-to-day grind, we don't have an opportunity. We kind of find ourselves, maybe we catch ourselves that once in a while, we're like, oh, I'm breathing really shallow, or oh man, I haven't stopped all day today, And it's at those times you realize it, but then you just keep going anyways. And when you do that day after day, week after week, month after month, and I can go on and on the timeline, your body finds ways to compensate. And then you may start feeling ill, maybe pain in certain parts of your body. It starts to physically manifest in your body. And it could be something simple as a traumatic event or emotional event stuck in your energy field somewhere. And sound healing also helps to smooth out that energy field, and to dislodge any stuck energies that get kind of stuck in your energy field. So yeah.
Oh, cool. I am curious with the singing bowls, if someone were to go for a session with you, because I know every practitioner has their own style, which is what I like. That's why I like going to different sessions because I'm always curious, what's this going to look like? So if someone were to go to you for a healing session, do you use the singing bowls, like put it on top of their, I don't know, on top of their belly, or it, first of all, do you use that in a session, like a one-on-one session with people with the singing bowls? I'm just curious.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, I do. So I will never place a massive crystal bowl on somebody.
Oh, I've had
That's
one
asking for
placed.
all
That's why
kinds
I
of trouble.
asked.
However,
I've had it
and
one place. That's why I asked you, because it was such a cool experience. So I was
you
curious.
may, yeah, I don't remember, but in your session with me, I may have placed a bowl, this bowl in particular,
I don't
on your
remember.
abdomen at one point. Oh, just clang there. Just placed on your abdomen while you were lying down. And yes, so I'll place the bowl like this or something smaller on somebody. And this is during a one-to-one session. And then I will play that bowl over that area. And I may tap it a few times, I may play the bowl. And the idea is to have that direct vibration moving right through the person. And the thing with sound is that it has no barrier except for the void of space itself. And while we're on Earth, and where does sound reverberate the most intensely? Sound travels a lot better through the medium of water. Well, we are comprised of 60 to 70% water. And when we are in our infant stages, even more so, I think we're close to like 80 to 90% water. And so we really feel the effect of vibration and the impact on our bodies. And so when I place the weighted tuning fork or the singing bowl directly on somebody, that vibration is now able to go directly through the person. And that frequency is now essentially, it's essentially encapsulating the person, their physical body, their energy body. And I can go more on that as well. So on a physical standpoint, from a physical standpoint, it will go through your muscle, your bone, your organs, all the way down to your cellular level. And, you know, we are all beings of frequency, and everything in the universe is in a constant state of vibration, is in a vibrational state. Our bodies and our organs and our bones and our muscles are also constantly in a state of vibration. Our thoughts and our memories are in a state of vibration. Bless you, by the way. And so when we apply a frequency like 120 hertz or another, for example, solfeggio frequency, now your body is able to attune or resonate to that frequency, which then allows you to calm your nervous system down. And by allowing your nervous system to calm, now your body can be like, oh, okay, I have space and time to now worry about what's happening in the body. Because when we are like constantly in a mode of anxiety or constantly thinking, this is the big thing. We don't realize our thoughts produce a frequency. Our emotions produce frequency. And whether we realize it or not, being constantly enslaved by our thoughts and our emotions, your body is always at odds with this frequency. And so we have something called brain to heart coherence. And our hearts generate a very powerful EM field around our bodies. And you feel that day to day. Like you walk by somebody, you get a bad thing, oh, you kind of get a shiver, or maybe you feel more welcome in a certain space. That's this, right? You've heard of getting into someone's personal space. This is your personal space.
Your aura,
And
your energy fields, yes.
yeah, exactly. And so when you're not in brain to heart coherence, in other words, your frequencies are erratic because, oh my gosh, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, and you're going day to day, and it's just constant. So by taking time to be in nature, meditate, listening to a waterfall, a river, these sounds of the ocean. Like we're all drawn to these sounds because they're all modalities of sound healing in themselves. When you go to a sound healing practitioner and you do a one-to-one session or a sound bath, you are now being encapsulated in specific frequencies designed to help certain organs, muscles, bones, and to help your emotional and spiritual well-being. So if we bring this all the way back now to placing a bowl on top of somebody, the whole idea of that is to be impacted directly by that vibration and that frequency to bring you to a state of brain to heart coherence.
Oh, beautiful. I am curious because you did say the words sound bath. So I'm assuming we're not going in a bathtub. So what does sound bath mean for people that are not familiar with those terms? I feel like we got a lot of kitchen stuff going on here, but it's all
We
good.
do. You do. Like the world of sound, you can go to the house and like relate something to something, the kitchen, the bathroom. Uh,
Yeah, sound.
so yeah, so I like to make that joke when I do sound baths. It's like, no, we're especially people who have never done it before. I'm
Yes,
like, this is not a bath, okay?
yeah.
We are essentially you're bathing in sound and frequency and vibration. And so when you go to a sound bath, everyone can have their own way of doing it, but you're essentially going to go to a safe space and you're going to either be sitting up or laying down. Usually it's laying down. And the sound healing practitioner will play a variety of sound healing instruments. The main instrument I see at a sound bath are the crystal singing bowls. They're a very powerful instrument, and they resonate. They can get intense. They can get loud. Gongs are another big one. Chimes, like big chimes. I got a bar chime here. And so basically sounds that will cover a larger area or extend out to a larger group of people who you will be sharing a space with, to partake in sounds that will help the collective energy unite their hearts and minds, but also on an individual level to help you come to a place of relaxation. And I have done quite a number of sound baths now, and I can say that each and every time people always say, oh man, that was amazing. I feel so much
Mhm.
lighter. You know, we don't see what's going on within each individual person. As a collective, I can feel that energy shifting, and
Yeah.
it's incredible. Going into each individual, of course, I don't see what's really happening through someone's thoughts and and within, but every single person will undergo their own transformation and experience a sound bath on their own terms, in their own way. And it's really quite incredible how different people, after a sound bath session, will say that they experienced this and this and this. And then another person will say they experienced it, but they felt it differently. They like temperature variation, they heard something differently. So it really works on a collective level, but it also works on an individual level as well.
I remember now that you're explaining what a sound bath is, years ago, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, there was a sound healer. I don't know, one of my friends told me about him, and he had rented out a local church, like a tiny little local church out in the country. And we went there and we all brought our blankets and our pillows and we laid on the floor. And it had all those instruments you spoke of, and you could feel the ground. It was like an hour concert. So interesting. It was an hour concert. If you lay down, you could feel the vibration. It was so much more relaxing because I did start sitting up and I was like, because you start to relax so much. I find you start to slide and you're like, in the end, it's just more comfortable to lay down. But I will say some people sat for the performance. So no, you did not have to lay down, but I preferred it. And you could really feel the music work through you, and people would have visions, people would have different experiences. And then on the break, everybody was sharing. It was so amazing. So, do you offer this? Because I'm just curious, because if you do, let's let our listeners know where they can find you and try out a session with you.
Absolutely, yeah. So I offer sound healing both one-to-one and in communal settings like sound baths and events. So as a matter of fact, myself and Lauren Power, she's a Reiki healer and a reflexologist, just an amazing human being, and we've been doing a lot of collaboration lately. So her and I are actually hosting an event coming up on Sunday, March the 24th, and it's going to be taking place at the Yoga Yurt. It's a nice circular space. The sound in there, the way it reverberates, is absolutely incredible. It's nice and cozy, no matter what the temperature is outside. Because we got a nice wood burning stove, and yeah, we do a collaborative sound bath, and she goes around and does Reiki as well. So the energy healing is really next level. So we have that coming up, and we try to do one of those events at least once a month, and if not, maybe once every 2 months. But we're really trying to do the once a month thing, and we also host retreats as well. So we are looking into hosting one coming up in May. But you can find all of that information on my website. That's www.newmoonguidance.com. That's NU, not
Yes.
NEW, NUmoonguidance.com. And on my Instagram at New Moon Guidance. And there you can keep up to date on like the events that we have coming up. And also I do like cool like little sound things, and do like live collective readings and stuff too. But that's where you can find all the information for the sound healing.
Oh, I love that. And I will also have that in the show notes. So if you're listening on my podcast, you'll see it there. If you're watching this on YouTube, all his contact information will be there too. So I am curious, do you have any crystal bowls with you that you could show us on YouTube so our viewers can see what that looks like for people that don't know what that is?
Okay, so good news is I do. Bad news is they're currently nested in their
Oh,
they're currently in their nesting bags right now.
oh, that's okay. That's
So
okay. So
yeah,
they're
but
made of crystal, right?
yeah, and they can be
Okay.
used, different materials can be used for them. This is a Tibetan singing bowl. This is used,
That's beautiful.
um, yeah, um, kind of going back to when we were talking about the stores and things, because you can go to metaphysical stores and you
Yes.
can find these instruments. Like I bought my first crystal bowl at a metaphysical store, and I bought this at a metaphysical store. But this is a hand hammered Tibetan singing bowl, and I'm going to highly recommend to people that if you should be so inclined to go and get an instrument and you see the metal bowls, try to find ones that are hand hammered. You can kind of tell with the imprints on the bowl. I just find that the sound and the frequency, and especially when they're hand hammered with the 7 different metals put together, it's just a much more organic sound, and you find that it reverberates for longer. So the crystal bowl is like this, except you'll see it in you could see it in different colors.
Yes.
But the most common one is like a frosted white, and when
Yes.
you play them, they truly resonate like on a profound scale. And then you can get fancy. They've got like the polished ones. They've got ones that they infuse with other crystals to give it kind of like a colored hue. And
Oh,
then you can go into like, yeah, so you can go into like the different chakras.
oh,
And they start
interesting.
getting pricey, I'll tell you that much. Like
Start
I
saving.
could
Start saving.
yeah, start saving, yeah. But if you really wanted to, maybe you start with one, play them. You want to really play them or be able to listen to them before you buy, so you can really feel what resonates with you. And I think that's a great place to start.
So I am curious. So if one wants to become a what's it called? It's not a music practitioner,
Sound healing
a
practitioner.
sound healing practitioner. Do you have to have a musical background or can anybody become this? Like, how does that work? I'm curious because I've never explored that. What do you, what skills do you need to do this? Do you need skills or can anybody learn this?
Right. So having a musical background does help. That being said, to get into the world of sound healing, you don't have to be a musician. And
Okay.
that also being said, there are no governing bodies. There's no like, yeah, you can get certified in sound healing. And depending where you are in the world, you might want to look into what the regulations and what the laws are for these kinds of things. But on the whole, and especially here in Canada, there is no real true governing body. I believe anyone can really become a sound healing practitioner, and really trusting your intuition and whatever sounds resonate with you is a great place to start. You can take courses online. There are also, of course, workshops that happen in person. I went through the Sound Healing Academy, and it's quite a great school. And I'm still like learning stuff through them. So this is, if you want to start down this path and you wanted to make it like a real thing, then be prepared to dedicate to it, because this is a lifelong journey. Just like tarot and astrology, mediumship, these are lifelong learning things. And you can only get better and better with every person you meet who does it, and with the more that you learn. So Sound Healing Academy, I believe there are a few others. The one other that I saw was Life Changing Energy. And there are also a lot of resources and places out there that will offer. Some will actually, they do actually give you a certification for it. Again, not regulated, but you can get a certification for it. So Sound Healing Academy is one such institution that does give you certifications.
Oh, I love that. That was amazing. I learned so much. So I want to say thank you so much, Daniel, for being with us today and for sharing your knowledge of sound healing. So if people want to reach out, I will have your website and all your social media contact there so people are able to follow you. I totally recommend you guys connect with them and get a session. Just because I don't know, that's just the way I'm wired. I like to try new sessions because it's just fun to have those experiences, I find. And so thank you so much for spending this time with us.
And thank you so much, Maria. This has been a lot of fun, very exciting. And again, feeling so honored to be on your podcast. So thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.